So it is 13 days since the hostilities broke out between Israel and Palestine, almost 11 days since Gaza has been put under a complete and a crippling siege. Now, at this moment, as we speak, an estimated 2.3 million Palestinian civilians have been living under a state of complete blockade in Gaza. But this blockade, remember, on the Gaza Strip has been ongoing by the state of Israel for the last 17 years, since 2006 onwards. Earlier, Israel had controlled what went in and out of the Strip. The difference now is that Israel has cut off all essential supplies for life, such as supplies of food, water, electricity, medicines, and in many cases, even internet. People in the Gaza Strip are struggling, and their streets at this moment look like this. An estimated million people have in fact been forced to flee from their homes. They have been told to go to the south on the premise that the southern part of Gaza Strip could be more safe, but that is not the case at all. The residents in the Gaza Strip at this moment are without food, water, fuel and electricity. A Reuters report claims that people have in fact resorted to drinking salty water. The water is contaminated with sewage, and some hospitals have already run out of supplies altogether, while others are having to choose their patients for treatment. Now, out of the 3 exit crossings, 2 have in fact been shut, while Israel is refusing to open the third one. So the only way the situation could, of course, get better, if at all, is if aid were to get into Gaza. For the past couple of days, there has been talks. Now, the World Health Organization has issued a statement. Israel could potentially allow some aid to trickle in. But then again, this is a big if. For several days now, close to about 100 trucks filled with humanitarian aid have been camping near the Rafah border crossing. But the Rafah border crossing has repeatedly been bombed by the Israelis.
We welcome Israel's announcement yesterday that it will not block the entry of water, food and medicines into Gaza from Egypt. Fuel is also needed for hospital generators, ambulances, and desalination plants, and we urge Israel to add fuel to the life-saving supplies allowed to enter Gaza. Our trucks are loaded and ready to go. We're working with Egypt and Palestine Red Crescent societies to deliver our supplies into Gaza as soon as the Rafah crossing is opened, hopefully tomorrow.
The Rafah crossing is the potential only entry point. Egypt has agreed to allow trucks into Gaza. The United States, after Biden's meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister, has managed to get a concession of about 20 trucks of aid that can in fact pass through the Rafah border crossing. Whereas people of Gaza at this moment continue to remain very desperate. They allege that it is the state of Israel that is refusing to open the border crossing for aid to come in.
We also recognize that the Palestinian people are victims of Hamas too. And that is why I welcome your decision yesterday that you took to ensure that routes into Gaza will be opened for humanitarian aid to enter.
Now, one of the residents that we in fact spoke to has said that the roads near the border crossing are pocked with craters from Israeli airstrikes. They'll have to be fixed before the trucks can pass. The American president has spoken about aid reaching Gaza by Friday if everything goes well.
No, I was very blunt about the need to support getting humanitarian aid to Gaza. Get it to Gaza and do it quickly.
Now, even if the first batch of the trucks reach Gaza, the United Nations is raising an important question here. How effective will the initial delivery prove to be for the Gazans? There is a humanitarian catastrophe that is at play where people have been robbed of their basic amenities. But our correspondent Jody Cohen has been reporting from Tel Aviv since the war began. She in fact gets us the latest on the possibility of humanitarian aid being allowed into the Gaza Strip. Listen.
Israel's wartime security cabinet has agreed to enable humanitarian aid from Egypt into southern Gaza. Remember, Gaza has 2 borders, one with Israel and one with Egypt. The southern Gaza Strip is the area that Palestinians have been advised to move towards, away from northern Gaza, which is the hotbed of the Hamas terror group. Now, food, water and medicine will be allowed to enter as long as the supplies do not reach Hamas. And Israel is also calling on the Red Cross to visit the more than 200 hostages held by Hamas and says it won't transfer any aid from Israel itself as long as the hostages are not returned. Meanwhile, President Biden has warned that if Hamas takes the aid would stop. This is Jodie Cohen for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.